Coming to you live from the Business RadioX studio, it's Franchise Marketing Radio, brought to you by IDS, an award-winning digital marketing agency that delivers integrated marketing solutions for franchisors, franchisees, and franchise development teams. Learn why over 75 brands depend on IDS's team of dedicated marketers and client service professionals to deliver a strong ROI on their marketing investment. Go to idsfranchisemarketing.com for a complimentary digital audit and consultation.
Hello, welcome back, everybody, to Franchise Marketing Radio. I'm your host, Rob Ganley, and this is the show where we bring you enlightening conversations with industry leaders and franchise experts. Today, we are thrilled to introduce a guest who embodies both the world of entertainment and the realm of franchising. Joining us on the show is Brave Williams, a recording artist and actress, established actress, and an inspiring entrepreneur who has just embarked on a dynamic franchise journey with Workout Anytime. Williams, known for her music career, touring with Beyonce, and her appearances on BET, VH1, and Netflix, has only made her mark in the entertainment industry, but also has a strong passion for fitness and helping others achieve their goals. So it's great to have you on the show today. Welcome, Brave.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that intro. I wish that could always be my intro.
Well, you can borrow it if you'd like. Anyway, but this is intriguing. So you've just decided to make a big investment in fitness. And I think I had this right. 23 units is the plan.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about your vision. How did you make this connection with fitness and make this decision to partner with Workout Anytime?
Yeah, no, great question. So fitness has always been a part of my journey. I naturally just love helping people. I always knew from a little girl, I guess that's why I kind of geared towards entertainment. I always knew that I was going to be on a stage. I always knew that I was, and not because of just the fact that it was a stage, but because I always knew in my heart that that's how I could reach people. So that was kind of always my vision from a little girl. Becoming an adult, it's still under the same fabric. Being able to help people in a gym is about as many people as I can reach. That's why I landed on so many locations, because I want to reach as many people as possible, just to inspire and just help people understand that you're worthy of feeling good. You know, it's a conscious decision we all have to make, and to be able to build places, multiple places for them to come and let that be their safe haven. To me, it's an honor.
Well, that's very cool. I find out a lot with franchise businesses, right? Because a big part of what you're doing with a local business, and you can do it in a big way with many locations, right, is serving that local community in that area and giving, almost a platform to facilitate each other, like everybody, and whether it's a restaurant or even a retail or entertainment or something like fitness, it nowadays more than ever, I think it's important for people, us, to have a place to go interact, because so much of life is virtual now. We do so much with screens. The idea of actually interacting with other people, like going to the gym, is like, it feels good just to have that part, just to interact with others, have common goals. So, but tell me a little bit about, to me, fitness is about confidence, isn't it? And fitness is, you say feeling good. It could be about energy. It could be about confidence. It enables you to do the things in life that you want to accomplish. And when I was younger, I always connected fitness with like sports, right? Or, doing things that are athletic or what have you. But as I've gotten older, as an entrepreneur especially, it's like you need mental fitness, you need energy, you need confidence, you need, and physical fitness fuels that totally. Like it's so important to business. And so to me, that's what I see when I see fitness brands. I see you helping people feel good so they can do what they want to do, whether that's your career or whether that's some kind of sport. But tell me more about, tell me what it was about what you saw in this brand. What were some of the things that because maybe you could have partnered with others. What was it about this brand that you felt was compelling? What was some of those reasons?
Yeah, so great question. Well, I started out, just to backtrack a little bit, I became a certified trainer about 10 years ago. So I've been training despite doing music and movies. I've I've always been training. And to me, it's when you mention confidence, that was the biggest reward, being able to see someone go from a level 0 to a level 10 in their confidence because they're putting in the work and numbers don't lie. So for me, I didn't realize that feeling, that reward was going to catapult into wanting to open my own gym. So, which brings me to your next question. Originally, I was going to do another deal with a different company because the gym was already built and I was familiar with the area. It was a much smaller model, but to be honest, at that time, I thought it was the easier model because it was already built. The employees were there. I just buy it. And now I'm going to start operating it as a trainer. But then in the midst of literally 24 hours before my putting the money into escrow, I got a call about another location that I was looking at purchasing. And the woman that I had FaceTimed me about that location said, Brave, you're looking at this, but everybody's across the street. And I was like, well, what's across the street? And she said, workout anytime. And I said, well, what's that? So literally it was a last 5-minute find. It was like a hidden treasure. I had her go across the street and then I genuinely loved what I saw in that location. And that's when I started to pivot.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Well, listen, franchising is done that way for a reason, right? They take a great business idea and make it better and polish it up and make it the best operating business you can have, right? So for people that come in from the outside, it's like, well, can I run a fitness business? Franchising in general helps you take that concept and make it as good as it can be. And so, right, if you're comparing that with, say, an independently owned business, it may be, there's some advantages, right, to work in. It's a collective idea. It's like you're going to learn so much in this endeavor, right?
Yeah,
about fitness, and you're going to contribute. Like it's going to be invaluable, right? What you'll bring to this brand now. And you get the benefit now of learning from others. And so that's what makes franchising as a competitive idea so hard for other independent owners, right? To compete against the brands. But so that's great. So tell me a little bit about, I thought I read somewhere, so you said you were doing this for about 10 years. Were you also doing some stuff on set, like where you were training people? So tell me a little bit about how the connection there met. And did that kind of contribute to this idea of like, someday I'm going to own maybe some of this, but just tell me what you're doing on set.
On set, I would take the actors. We would do boot camps. I would be the one getting, up, even though we had like a long 16-hour, 12-hour shoot the day before. It goes back to that mental aspect in which you spoke about. Like you're on these long hour sets a day. A lot of times you do need a mental break. And so where do you find that? You go take a run, get all the actors, get the crew together, do a 20-minute workout. Cause like you said, it's bigger than just the physical aspect. Like you need to me, they go hand in hand. The mental health of it and what it does physically to the body, releasing those endorphins, releasing those happy hormones. Real science happens inside the body when you exert energy. And for me, I want people to understand that that's available to you if you choose to do it. And so my purpose in being here and opening locations and opening Workout Anytime is I want to give everyone that option, like a safe haven of a place to say, hey, we got the trainers to get that juice flowing in your body. We have the facility to make sure that like I said, you feel good. I want grandpas and grandmas to be able to run a little longer with their grandbabies. I want moms and dads to have energy to, show up for their kids. Like I want people just to I don't know, use all their best potential. And sometimes you just need a little push.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the simple things in life sometimes are the most important things. And the concept of exercising and feeling better is linked to so many other things, right? So if we could just get that going, and there's so much you can do with the fitness business, I think. I mean, I think there's so many cool things from a community standpoint and feeling good about how you're helping people. As I said to you before, I think we're even evolving more where fitness is not only something you get as a result and you want to do and it makes you feel better, but it's also a community aspect where you can connect with people and have like-minded goals and enjoy each other, right? Because as I said,
there's healing in that. Just connecting.
Yeah, there's healing in that. Like I said, like the idea of interact, like you're building a platform where people can actually interact. I grew up that way, but then the internet came. It's like we're removing that now. Like the idea of going and hanging out, like is starting to become less and less. It was almost like the fitness industry was trying to make it like just come and go, come and go, come and go. And now they're going back to, no, come and hang out, come and make this part of your life. And maybe you meet some good friends there. Maybe, you know what I mean? Absolutely. So it is about the fitness feeling, but it's also about the camaraderie and the friendship. And I just think people need connection. And I think all local businesses have a calling where you have like an environment where you invite people in. I think we need more engagement in our world, is what I'm trying to say.
That's a great,
you know what I mean?
Great point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So, but tell me a little bit about like your background as actress, as entertainer, so many skill sets in that, right? Obviously fitness is part of that. You need confidence. You need to be physically fit in most cases, right?
Yeah.
The discipline parts, tell me, like, was there things about that you think are now helping you in business? Because you're a young person, right? And you were mainly in entertainment. So it's not like you started in business, went to business school, right? I don't think, right?
No.
So how did just being excellent at what you do, and is that transferring into business a little bit? Tell me a little bit. Do you see any correlations?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. So I used to think that memorizing a 300-page script was challenging. But it does take a type of discipline to memorize your lines, the other person's lines, the cues, when you're supposed to. That was a walk in the park compared to opening a business. I used to think opening, when I toured with Beyonce in front of 60,000 people at Madison Square Garden, I thought those nerves were challenging, but that is a walk in the park compared to opening a business. So all these things that I did in my life, that be it performing, be it memorizing scripts, be it just, the pressure, it's just opening a business. It's not for the faint of heart. Like, you have to love the career path that you pick. For me, it was fitness because I love helping people. So a lot of days it doesn't feel like work. But the business side of it, the layers, the details, the permitting, the construction, the managing, the architects, the engineers, that in itself, it makes me understand now why my name is Brave.
Yeah. Well, it's funny about being in business for yourself. I think all of us, not all of us, I mean, I think a lot of people have that sort of desire, right? Like, you want to create something special and you want to have your stamp on it. And sort of the idea of owning a business, like artistic type pursuits, like it gives you that feeling. Like me, I'm creative and I didn't have that outlet. Like, so for me, like, creating a business model was kind of interesting. Like, you could start with something in your head and put it on paper and then slowly build it out and see it someday, maybe, right? So it's very creative, but it's also the same process I would think that you deal with, where no matter how great you are, you still have second doubts, like doubts about things, right? You have to push and you're always being challenged, right? Like Beyonce is probably pretty awesome challenge. I don't know if you'll ever tour with someone bigger than that. I mean, that's like up there, right? Yeah. But I mean, there's always that new thing that you never did before that would be challenging. And like, that's what business is like. It's like, it makes you second guess yourself. Like, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to make, you know what I mean? I want to be good at this. And so it's that same thing all over again, where you got to have that, you push through that self-doubt, right? Yeah. That's where the fitness muscles can come in handy, when you have to push through some of the self-doubt in life with anything we do, right? Like I work out strictly for that reason all week long, that I have to push through and just have push those moments, right? If you're really going to do things that you believe in, you're going to have those moments of self-doubt. And I think starting a business, no matter where you're coming from, has that to it. Unless you're doing it over and over, eventually it'll be no brainer. You might have 100 of these places, right?
That's what they say, but I don't know. I think because it's like nothing. Yes, you might be repeating a system, but no situation is ever the same, right? So every new business venture, every new location is going to come with its own set of whatever obstacles or whatever challenges. Maybe, like you said, it's almost like a muscle, being able to rectify the issues quicker, right? That might, that'll start to get its own rhythm, where it's like, okay, I've done that before. I know how to fix this. But I still think, from what I hear, and from what I can imagine, you still might have those moments where it's like, where you're questioning not only your own sanity, but
I would think, well, so that kind of leads me to another question. But someone like you who's creative and visionary. And when I look at other people in your field, people we both know, right, that do things that do different things. Like I think of popular actors that buy, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's, famous for doing different things, right? But every time you do something new, it's like that new challenge, right?
Yeah.
And you start over again. But tell me a little bit about your vision for this fitness venture, right? 23 locations potentially, maybe more someday. I don't know. There could be other aspects, just the idea of what you said, helping people. Tell me a little bit about that vision you have. What's it looking like now? Like, what do you see into the future? What are you going to bring potentially to this venture that you kind of feel might be creative, or any ideas, anything you want to share?
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing that I did like about this model, or specifically with this brand, with Workout Anytime, was that there was so much potential for growth. You could look at other fitness brands, and if you were comparing numbers, there may be more in terms of quantity. But I love the fact that there was maybe not as many, but they're full of quality. And so for me, that's what was really my driving force, to say, okay, because they're based out of the South. I'm in Baltimore, which is on the northern eastern side. So it's like, okay, I think that more people on this side of the country need to be familiar with this brand. Let's do it. Let's be the ones to bring this brand and expose them up here, because again, with the amenities that we offer, that's really what also drew me to them, so they're with the sauna, the hydro massage chairs, the human touch massage chairs. I have cryotherapy, red light therapy. The amenity space in itself is beautiful. And I want people to have access to that. With $29 a month, it's like, why not? It's less than $1 a day. So for me, it was just about a lot of the amenities that we have. I mean, one of them, even with the red light therapy, my dermatologist she was charging people $120 per use, right? So at first I was like, what is all the hype about? And then I did it for 2 weeks, and I was like, oh, okay, I need this in the gym, because I could see the difference after using it consistently. And I want people to do that. I want people to combat their seasonal depression, getting those red lights, getting the vitamin D, because it's both. It's a physical and a mental health aspect in one building for an affordable price.
Yeah, no, I love that. Every time I have conversations with newer fitness brands, there's more of this conversation about the amenities. And when you think about what you just said in cryotherapy, like these are things that, like the NFL, I would hear about that like 20 years ago. Like they're trying to get someone healed, and they have the state of the art stuff. And now it's like, there's such amazing benefits to these things. Now it's democratized. Now we all can afford it. Now we can go to pay a monthly fee and have different ways of addressing the same topic, which is feeling more confident, feeling better, having more energy.
Yeah.
And for some people, it might be more of one of those amenities than it is training, right? It just depends on what the situation is. But that's fantastic. And I live in Colorado, so for me, sun is a big thing. Like it did affect me when I changed locations. Yeah. I was in a more normal, like not as much sunshine kind of a place. And this place is like Florida and San Diego, gets tons of sun. And it really did change. I didn't realize it. You know what I mean? So I think that's a factor for a lot of people. And when I do, I mean, weather does bother me. It affects me in a certain way. So I think that's important to consider. But again, just having those choices and giving more reasons to go and hang out and become part of the local workout anytime, right?
Yeah.
So part of that as an entrepreneur, it sounds like, is you had opportunity, right? They're younger in their development. They're doing some innovative things, and you have room to grow in your local market, where a lot of your units would be in the Washington, D.C. area, right? To start, is that basically where that is, or is it more broad than that?
Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. I am looking at one right now in North Carolina, but that would be one that I'm building. The second location that is in the building department, that's in Manassas, Virginia. So I'm kind of I'm looking even local to where I am now in Lanham. I'm in Lanham, Maryland. So even looking in maybe a 20-minute, 30-minute ride from here, just so that people can have multiple locations to choose from. Because that's, to me, that's also important too, is just making sure that they have access to close by. If they do drive an hour or whatever it is, 45 minutes or 2 hours, there's another one if they're in a different area.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a big consideration for that area too, because a lot of people live that way. Right?
Yeah.
You're either on the other side at work and like, should I just go to work out now, or should I go home, or
exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's an important, in that area, it's so populated and so many people do move around that way. And it is important to have options like that. I had that same issue. So I mean, it's going back a ways. I'm not in that scenario anymore, but it was just like that. I'm like, oh man, they don't have a Gold's Gym near me. Like I have to go before I go to work, you know?
Yeah.
But cool. So tell me a little bit about, like, just in your process, you just said, look, this has been somewhat new for me to buy into a business model and a franchise as well. Lots of details, right, that I hadn't thought of before. Tell me a little bit about any advice you might give someone else, someone that might come from your industry, right? Because you know that industry really well, right? They might be looking for diversifying themselves or doing other things. Or if you have advice just for anyone looking to start a business, like, you know, like you're a person that maybe worked most of their life, saved their money, and now they're thinking, I should just work for myself. I think I'm ready. I can do it. Any advice you would share with any of these kinds of people?
Absolutely. Take your time and do your homework. What does your homework consist of? It consists of you being diligent enough to sacrifice your time, your energy, your finances to go to those other locations that are already up and running, meet, sit in with, study under those franchisees, those other franchisors, so that you have a true understanding of what it takes to run that business. What I did is, before this gym was even in construction, I went to I did like a road trip for like 3 months. 1 month I went to the location in Tennessee. I studied under their GM, their owner. Then I drove over to North Carolina, did the same thing for another month. And then I kind of got an understanding of even just the best practices. You're able to pick and choose what to implement in your own business, what worked for them, what didn't work for them. Use the network as your net worth, essentially, because all of those business, the operating businesses, they're there to give you all of the treasures, right? They're there to tell you how they failed, what worked for them, what didn't work. Okay, make sure you don't do this. And just be open to all of that, but do that. Don't skip that part and then just sign the papers and boom, now you're in a franchise contract. Do your homework before you do that.
I love what you just said. Did you hear what you made a comment? You made a little snippet. Did you say the network is your net worth? Did you say that?
I did. Maybe I should quote that.
I love that. That's a great, no, but it's true. I say it all the time in other ways. When I talk about the power of having others that you can talk to that are doing what you're doing. Like that's so hard sometimes when you're not, when you're trying to be someone else and you're on the outside of it. And sometimes you take it for granted if you happen to be on the inside of it, right? Yeah. And you like when I was employed for many years, I worked for big companies, big brands. And as a younger person, I was fairly successful in what I was doing, but also somewhat like egotistical that was so easy. Like, you know, I didn't appreciate the resources I had to just say to someone who has 30 years experience, hey, let me pick your brain. And so when you have that sort of two-way sort of relationship where people are willing to give all the secrets, it doesn't work against them to do so. Because outside, you're always paying, aren't you? You're paying for consulting or coaching, or you got to pay for that. But in a franchise, it's all there for you. Yeah. And sometimes we forget about the power of that. But I love the network is your net worth, because you get so much just from even just knowing others can do it. Like, you know, absolutely. That, right, Brave? It's just like if you had a friend that was doing what you're doing now, and you're like, shit, you know how to do it. Like that, just knowing that sometimes is the key, right?
Yeah. And you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because it is, like you said, it can be uncomfortable being the one coming in, asking for the help, or even showing your vulnerability. Like if me coming from entertainment, I can't show you that I'm vulnerable. It's a male dominated industry. I have to, show up as I'm ready. Let's go. But with franchising, with a business, I'm like, no. how do I do this? What's the answer? Someone help me. Someone. And you have to be okay with sharing that, no, I don't know everything, but I am here to learn. So please teach me. And more times than not, what I've learned, especially in franchising and business, 99% of the time, they always say yes. They always say, okay. Like they're more willing. People are, and that's just to me, the natural innate thing of humans. People are willing to help you when they see you're willing to help yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And that is so key though, too, that, and I find this with people like yourself and others that have had good degrees of success, right, in the world system, let's say. But they tend to be humble too. They tend to be like, yeah, I get it. I get the game. The game is learn from people that know this. You may find the guys that are really good at this. I hear that a lot from guys that build businesses. They'll say, I look for the guys that know stuff I don't know. Like I look for the experts in areas that I know I need for this model, but I'm not the expert, right? Yeah. And that's how they learn. Even like I heard a story about Steve Jobs when he was young, because he was really, really young when he first invented Apple and that whole thing. And he figured out all this money, right? And he didn't know much about business other than computers and things. And he would go around asking people questions like, why do we do it that way? The accounting department, like why do we do it that way? How do we do? And he would learn, and he became smart just by asking others how they did it. Yeah. And, but anyway, that's great. And that's what franchising itself affords it. It's just built in that way to be able to learn from others and be, learn from their strengths and their weaknesses. So before I let you go, did you want to talk about your location and any way that people can learn more in case they happen to be tuning in nearby? And any other information you want to share?
Yeah. So right now we're actually preparing for our grand opening. Our grand opening is September 18th. We have a ribbon cutting with I'm not supposed to say, but there will be some very high elected officials that will be attending to do the ribbon cutting. We'll have a live DJ. Well, the ribbon cutting is at 3 p.m. We'll have a live DJ, free food trucks. It'll be like a party from 4 to 7. So if anyone's interested in coming, I would love for them to come. They can follow us on Instagram, which is at Workout Anytime Lanham. That's L as in Lima, A as in Apple, N as in Nancy, H, A as in Apple, M as in Mary. So Workout Anytime Lanham. That's our Instagram and Facebook page. And they can always call the club if they have any questions. That phone number is 301-456-0944. And we're excited to be welcomed in the community. I'm really looking forward to the grand opening. And we have a $1 down special right now where anyone can join for $1.
Wow. I might go all the way over there just for that. I'm from Colorado.
Right.
But very good job. Very good job. I'm very intrigued by the grand opening. That sounds like a lot of fun. I would encourage anyone to get involved if you're nearby there for sure. That sounds exciting. Brave Williams, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you. I really would love to have you back again. It sounds like you're going places, and especially in the franchise industry, but elsewhere as well. So would love to keep it, check in on with you, and hope to have you back again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. And bye for now.
All right.